Hello and welcome to your messages for the week. Today is Sunday, the 16th of June, 2024. I'm a little bit late with these messages, better late than never. I hope you're all well. If you haven't already seen the messages for the month of June, link in the description, video in the end screen. They were all about the stillness and reflection needed in order to give birth to divine action. So I'd love to know how that's happening for you guys, because stillness is definitely not something that's happening for me in June so far. I seem to be a little bit busy, happily busy, but busy, if you know what I mean. So yes, still looking forward to a bit of stillness. So I hope you're faring better than me on that front. Hopefully, I think one of the things that came up was that, the stillness physically, the stillness of body, taking it easy. Because I think it was the Four of Swords that came up, which is about resting and relaxing, which is about being physically still as well. But if you're unable to be physically still, because you're busy, happily so, or whatever the case may be, I think the challenge is all the lesson objective. Oh, sorry, that's from my teaching days, or whatever, is to be mentally still. So we can still carry out these physical, functions, chores, whatever we're doing, services, but from a place of mental stillness and tranquility. I think that's a very important point. So yes, if you can't be physically still, then let's work on being calm and peaceful mentally while we are physically not still. Okay, and the other thing I wanted to report back on was my first Tarot and Beyond call, which I really enjoyed. So that's the main thing, obviously, because there is only me creating my reality. And it was a beautiful, beautiful call. Just to give you some idea, because I don't really know, I mean, I'm just putting it out there, this idea of Tarot and Beyond, whereby we do a card reading for those that are present, is on Zoom. It's so wherever you are in the world, you can join. 7 p.m. every second Sunday of the month. So the next one is Sunday, the 14th of July, at 7 p.m. Spanish time. So 6 p.m. English time, and middle of the day over the pond. So because it's not planned, because what comes up, the idea is that we do a card reading for those present, and then we look at any wisdom or any guidance that comes up in the cards and see how it applies to our life, see how we resonate with it. Different people resonate in different ways. And a lot of these spiritual lessons, which I'm putting in inverted commas, they work on different dimensional levels and in different ways in different situations. So sometimes we receive this information like mentally, but to really embody it in every cell of our body and every cell of our being, and to be applying this wisdom and living it. I want to call it, living the wisdom of tarot. Then I think sometimes we want to bridge that gap between understanding it mentally and actually living it in the physical world. And it was lovely. We only had a few people on the call, but the main card that came up, I did do a full Celtic cross, but the main lesson, the main issue was the Emperor card, who the message with him is all about standing in your power and don't give your power away, not giving your power away. So the idea of Tarot and Beyond is like, yeah, okay, stand in your power, don't give your power away. Yeah, we can all understand that. But what does that look like? And it was lovely because it looked like different things for different people on the call, but all of us on the call knew where in our life it was referring. So like, as what does it mean stepping into your power, and how do we give our power away? what are those examples in everyday life? I mean, so there were some people on the call that noticed that they had to leave their comfort zone in order to stand in their power. And that resonated with me as well. Because for me, it was about our power lies in following our divine path, which is like following our destiny. And that does take leaving your comfort zone. So yeah, that was like that, I guess, for some people. For others, it was standing in your power uh, meant loving yourself more, putting yourself first more. So love is your power. Loving yourself and loving other people is our power. Because when we love other people, it's more peaceful for us, it's more loving for us, isn't it? So yeah, it was kind of, but that's our power. Our power lies in love, doesn't it? And for some people, boundaries. You know, stepping into your power can also mean um, creating boundaries, you know, basically having little rules for yourself and making sure no one steps over them. So giving your power away, what would it look like? It would look like bending your own boundaries to accommodate somebody else. So yeah, anyway, it was just, I found it very interesting. Because yeah, I thought it was great because everybody was different and everybody was showing how that wisdom, you know, was showing up in their own life. Um, and I think what was lovely about it was that it was giving us all permission, not just permission, it was giving us confirmation that what we were doing was the right thing to do. You know, so leaving our comfort zone, what is it that we want to do that's a little bit nerve-wracking? Um, it was like, yeah, well, we need to be doing that. And it's just having that confirmation, you know, it's like, okay, so the cards have confirmed, and I've having discussed it, having the opportunity to discuss it with each other, you know, with fellow masters, and have, you know, that helps give it clarity. That's what I want to say. It helps give the messages clarity, doesn't it? And helps you see how really, yes, I have to fix that boundary. I have to step out of my comfort zone. And yeah, everybody there knew exactly kind of where it related to them. So yeah, I was really pleased with it. So anyway, if you want to join the next Tarot and Beyond call, you all you have to do is get in touch with me. You can do that through YouTube, through Facebook, through the website at deborahjanesutton.com. And I send you the links. I'll send you the PayPal link and the Zoom link, of course. And I'm just asking €12 for the call. And it went on for 2 hours. I think it was 2 hours. So we had like the reading. It wasn't so much the reading and then a discussion because the discussion was as we went on with the reading, which was quite nice. It's like we were discussing as we went with the reading, because I did a full Celtic cross spread. So anyway, 14th of July, you just get in touch with me and I'll send you the links, and then you can join and we'll see what happens then. Yeah. Anyway, three cards have come out and I think that's it. So let's see. I apologize if the sound is not very clear, but I don't have my microphone with me today. So I hope it's clear enough. Okay, here we go. Ah, we are the Queen of Pentacles. A little reminder here of just how resourceful we are, and that we have everything that we need. We've just been talking about leaving our comfort zone, haven't we? And so she's a lovely reminder that basically you've got nothing to lose. I think that's a nice way to look at leaving your comfort zone, isn't it? What have you got to lose? One of the only things you've got to lose normally is face, as we say, don't lose face. Because we think, well, if we fail, you know, and it's like, well, what is failure? I mean, let's just, you know, failure is not even giving it a go, isn't it? Failing to even try. Um, but if you're drawn to do something and you're feeling it from the inside, it's going to be the right thing for you. So I don't think it's possible to fail, but it is possible to grow with it when we do something new. I mean, let's take the tarot and beyond as an example. I mean, I'm just going to see how it grows, how it evolves. It might change. It might change in many different ways, depending on, I don't know, what happens. But you just got to put it out there, right? And just see. And it will evolve however it's meant to evolve, or not, as the case may be. And it doesn't matter, does it? Nothing matters. Oh, I love that. I love that. Nothing matters. Nothing matters. That reminds me of that beautiful, it's a little cartoon of a little character. And in the first picture, he's really depressed. He's in bed under covers and the room's dark. And he's saying, nothing matters, as if that's really depressing. And then in the next picture, he's jumped out of bed and opened the curtains and the sun's coming in. And he's going, nothing matters. And I can really feel that. Can you feel that? That sometimes if you're not feeling good or if you're depressed, you just think, well, nothing matters. It's that apathetic feeling, isn't it? But then also, you can switch it round to nothing matters. Nothing matters. If you try something and it doesn't work, nothing matters. If I put an event out and no one books in, nothing matters, because it's our resistance to caring about things like that. It's our resistance to things like that that actually cause blocks, I think. So, yeah, we have to just put things out. Um, Maybe you're planning a party, or maybe you want to get some friends together, and then like nobody turns up or no one can make it, and you just feel demoralized and you just feel, it's like, no, it's okay. Nothing matters, remember, nothing matters. You're obviously meant to do something else with that time. If you put a new service out and no one books in, it's okay. Maybe you're just meant to be tweaking it somehow. Maybe the people that you're serving are not ready for it. Maybe your ideal clients haven't resonated with you yet, and you just need a bit of time. Maybe not. Maybe it's just not for your path. It's okay. Nothing matters. Nothing matters at all. So, yeah, so she's about you having everything you need. There is another little message here, because Pentacles is Earth. So there is about being grounded. Being grounded is really important because I think the energies are very intense at the moment. And I think it's really important to stay grounded. And there are many ways that we can stay grounded, of course. There are yoga postures and, hugging trees, being in nature, of course. I tend to find that when I really need grounding, like after a healing session or something, it's very easy to reach for carbohydrates. And I always think to myself, that's because I need grounding. Okay, Deborah, can you do some yoga instead? But grounding it barefoot on the grass. That's one of the reasons that I love having the grass at the garden retreat. Um, I often get the clients to come outside and be barefoot on the grass, just to ground a little bit before leaving. I think it's really important. So there is a little message about that as well. And of course, typically Pentacles is money. So although that's not my main interpretation, I think of it as abundance, all kinds of abundance, abundance of joy and health and happiness, but also money and love. Did I forget love? But she's showing us that we are financially secure. We are financially secure, and freedom. There's a thing about freedom, isn't there? And I think this is why I believe this is why a lot of people are downsizing. And there's a lot of people tiny living. I mean, we are obviously at the garden retreat, but tiny living, making ourselves free of rent and mortgage and things like that. So, I mean, she's very free, she's secure. And sometimes to be secure financially doesn't mean making more money, doesn't mean making more money. It you can actually feel that security by just cutting back on your expenses, can't you? And lessening your expenses, like getting rid of the mortgage, living in a tent. You know what I mean? Because there is freedom. There is freedom there, I think. And also, it's part of being sovereign. she's obviously very sovereign, and sovereign means no one can govern you. So no one's got power or control over you. And there's a beautiful book, and I always forget how to pronounce his name. The author is James Altucher, something like that. And the book is called Choose Yourself. And I love that book. I read that book the year I left the day job as a school teacher. In fact, it was reading that book that gave me the kick up the backside to leave, because it was talking about, um, if your life is dependent on the whims of other people, whether it's your employer or the people you owe money to, or the banks that have got your mortgage, or I don't know, there's that's where a lot of our insecurity, because she's very much about stability and security. And that's what's coming out. And sometimes our insecurity comes from um, owing, owing uh, a mortgage or money, or um, yeah, being employed. I mean, obviously, we can't avoid being employed all the time, but I think it's really important to work for people that are in alignment with you, people that are at the same like-minded people, so that remember that quote: "Happiness comes when what you think, what you say, and what you do are in harmony." So I think it's really important, if you're employed, to seek employment with people that that are in alignment with your beliefs and with your ideals and with your view of the world. I think that's really important. Otherwise, you find yourself being asked to do things that you don't agree with, and that can really make your energy unstable. Because it's so important that what we think, if you're thinking one thing but having to do something else, that's where we are out of harmony with ourselves. So it's kind of really important to seek. That's why it's so important to seek your tribe, you know. Um, yeah, to seek your tribe and to make sure that the people that even if it's people like that you're working with, like I do this at the garden retreat. I make sure that anyone that comes in to do any work, they have to be in alignment. I don't just mean the people offering workshops from the tent. I mean people that help in the garden, the people that, come and help odd jobs or whatever. Anyone that comes in, it's really important, isn't it, that we have the same energy, the same resonance, the same way of looking at the world. I think that's important. I'm getting all of that from her. So yes, because look, we've got the five of swords. Yeah, it was face down, so I did, but this makes perfect sense to me, because if you're in a job whereby you're being asked to do something that goes against your own beliefs, it's really unsettling. I mean, this is mental conflict, and that's what's going to, yeah. I mean, that's what I was feeling when I was at the school. I was, being asked to do things, and it wasn't, awful things, but they were just things that weren't in alignment with my own beliefs, um, and my own way of wanting to do things. And it's uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable, because then you feel that you're being forced to do something, or you feel that you're being coerced. So, yeah, I think there's something here about employment and making sure that it doesn't matter whether you're employed or not, or self-employed, or even if you're retired, we're still sharing our services and sharing activities, aren't we? It's really important to be in alignment. Um, that what you're thinking and what you're saying and what you're doing are in harmony. Otherwise, you're going to have this mental conflict going on. So you're thinking one thing, and then you might say to your closest confidant, you might say, I don't agree with this. And then you go and do the action that whoever it is, expects of you. So your thoughts, your words, and your actions are not in harmony. Yeah, and there is a big change coming in this month, isn't there? Because the messages for the month of June are about this stillness and reflection. This is part of the reflection, reflecting on. It doesn't have to be your job. It could just be an activity. It could be an activity that you've outgrown. It could be a hobby that is evolving with you, but there are people participating that are not evolving with you or not evolving on the same timeline. And it's really important that you get yourself out of that situation, so that you can really express who you are. So if you're offering your services, then yeah, it needs to come from a place of truth, and you need to find people and places that you can share those services with and at, whereby your thoughts, your words, and your actions will be in harmony. Well, seek employment, yeah, where your employers are thinking the same way as you. It's a big one. It's a big one. And I know it's going to be easy to go, yeah, I can't just jack my job in. I've got a mortgage and I've got children to feed. Yeah. And we started off by saying, yeah, downsizing, get rid of the mortgage. I can't just get rid of the mortgage. Where are my kids going to sleep? I do understand. I'm not I'm not saying that this is all going to happen overnight. What I am saying, I'm going to put a link in the description to the book Choose Yourself, because I think that's where harmony, I think we find peace and harmony within when we choose ourselves in the way that the author of the book, James Altucher, talks about choosing yourself. It's putting yourself first, not in a selfish way, but putting yourself first, as in if you have a way in your mind how you want something done, then you need to do it that way. That's what I think it is. If you have resentment paying your mortgage, that's what's killing you. You go, oh, the mortgage is killing me. No, the mortgage isn't killing you. It's your resentment of the situation every time you pay the mortgage. It's the resentment that will kill you, not the mortgage. Ah, that's a really important point, because our last card is the Four of Swords, right? Which came up in the messages for June. That's why I was saying stillness, stillness and reflection, rest, retreat, relax, still. And we're just over halfway through June, and still we've got the stillness, and the retreating and the relaxing. Okay, so it must be the very end of the month, because we had the Page of Wands that came up for the month of June, letting us know that there's divine action to come from this stillness. So obviously still now in the middle of June, we need to be retreating, resting, relaxing, and reflecting. How can I downsize? How can I find employment that's more in alignment? Or how can I stop resenting my employers, or resenting, paying my rent, or, it's the resentment that is the problem. If we can find love for everyone and everything, then that would be more loving to ourselves. That's an act of self-love, because resentment is a contracting feeling and it gets stuck. And that's what causes malfunction, illness, and disease, and all sorts of other things. And it causes disharmony when we resent the way we're treated, or we resent what we have to do, the things we have to do. We resent the way other people treat us, or we resent our responsibilities. We resent the burdens that we feel on our shoulders. It's the resentment that's the problem. And so finding freedom from the resentment, which is about gratitude. So it brings it back to gratitude. So therefore, even though you want to, and this is where, if you want to change something, so then people are going to go, right, so I've got a job, it's a good job, but it's not the most aligned job. How do I find a better one? Because my job is bad, my employers are bad, they're not in alignment with, no. You know how we find a better one is by loving the job and having gratitude for our employers, having gratitude for our employment, having gratitude for our mortgage because we have a roof over our head, gratitude for our landlord, even when they've just put the rent up. Gratitude for our employers when they've asked us to do something that we don't like, knowing that, well, we have a job, we have an income, we have a roof over our head. It's okay. And then have gratitude for your awareness. Have gratitude for your awareness that you're realizing that that you do want to attract something better. So that's okay, right? But you can still have gratitude for everything coming in. That's really important because the gratitude is going to dissolve, I was going to say. I think the correct word is alchemize. The gratitude will alchemize the resentment. And that's really important so that we can go back to a place of peace, because this card is about worry and anxiety, right? And it's come on the heels of this one. So this is mental conflict. So now you're worried and you're in mental conflict, you know, but it's like, no, 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 you've got to find peace with your present situation in order to change it. Does that make sense? Loving it as it is actually the best way of bringing in something else. Because it's that energy of gratitude will raise your frequency, the energy of resentment will lower it. And so the energy of gratitude will raise your frequency to that you need it to be in order to bring in a new opportunity, whether that be a new place to live or a new landlord or a new job or a new opportunity to share your services and to share your gifts. It's so important that you're sharing your gifts because, I mean, that's one of the things she's saying to us. Is that, I mean, she's so gifted and she's living in this abundance. But she's connected to Mother Earth because, of course, Pentacles is Earth, and she's so resourceful. But it's her natural resources, and we all have divine gifts depending on our soul profile. If you haven't had your soul profile read, get in touch, or check out your astrology. You know, with amybirdastrology.com. I'll put a link in the description there as well. But just knowing, being secure about what your gifts are, where your strengths lie. She's definitely working with her strengths. And it's really important that you work with your strengths. So if you have a hobby that is making you feel really good and you know that you're good at it, you need to be able to really nurture that so that it can become your full-time abundance activity. Because your abundance is going to come from using your divine gifts, because that's why you have them. And that's why people say that abundance is our birthright, because we have chosen the gifts for this lifetime. Our soul has divine gifts. We're all particularly good at certain things. And the reason that we're good at those things is because we're meant to be using them. And they will be things that you love doing and things that you love sharing. And that you're passionate about. And the reason that you love doing them and the reason that you love sharing them is because you're meant to be using them and you're meant to be sharing them. And they make you excited because that's when you're in a state of excitement. Excitement is when what you're doing or thinking or saying or whatever it is in resonance with your divine essence. That's what excitement is from an energy perspective. That feeling of excitement is born from you, whether it's a thought, a word, or an action. It's you resonating with your soul's true desires, with your soul's true essence, with the you that you really are. And that's why it feels good, because it's who you are. And whatever it is that's making you excited is what you're meant to be doing. And you will be good at it and you will enjoy it. And the reason for that is because you're meant to do it and share it with others. And the meaning of life is to find your gift, and the purpose of life is to give it away. And that's why life is never meant to be a struggle. And that if everybody used their gifts like that, then everybody would be just excited and living harmoniously, and lovingly, and all these wonderful things. There's quite a lot packed in there, really, isn't there? Quite a lot packed in there. But yes, this is definitely about making sure that what you think, what you say, and what you do are in harmony, because that's where your true alignment, your true excitement, that's where your true resonance with your soul's essence lies. Yeah. Interesting one. Thank you for getting to the end of the video. I am sending you so much love for this week, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Bye for now.